Oh my. Oh my.
You are now tuned in to the Revolution Radio Show. Yo, what it is and what it do. You're officially tuned into the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3 FM KCAA in the Inland Empire, worldwide on the NBC Radio Network and on the iHeartRadio app. It is Tuesday, July the 20th, 2021. And as always, I'm your man, Jay Love, a.k.a. Uncle Jiggy. I'm joined by the statesman himself, Mr. Farron. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, man, I'm pretty good today. Just a little excited.
Okay.
Had a conversation with a gentleman who owns a father organization. And so I put my name in the hat to be a speaker for his next year's event for it's called Father's Day Eve.
Okay.
So they get together on the Saturday of Father's Day and celebrate. And last year he implemented some guest speakers. So I talked to him this morning. He's in Minnesota. And so I put my name in the hat to be a guest speaker for next year's Father's Day, 2022. Okay. So he was excited. I checked out some of my information and appreciated the relationship, how I healed my relationship with my parents. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to put you on the list. And then he has some more ideas as well. So that was my Tuesday morning. But I asked you about Clubhouse off the air. And so for those of you who are on Clubhouse, that place right there is...
what is Clubhouse?
I don't even want to tell you what it is. Just let for those who listen, he doesn't know what Clubhouse is.
I don't know what Clubhouse is.
I'm not going to be the one to corrupt his space. But
okay.
For those of you who listen, I'm on Clubhouse, and I was in a room last night, and the room was titled something like Black Community, Let's Have a Progressive Conversation. Right. So I chimed in and was listening to all the different comments. And basically the conversation was centered around what white people has done to blacks and the struggles and the prejudice and the races and all of that victimized perspective, if I could say it from that point of view. And so I listened and I chimed in when I gave an opportunity and brought in grace and forgiveness and these kind of conversations to move forward.
Ain't nobody talking about grace and forgiveness, man.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to hear none of that, bro. They was like, oh, I get you, but forgiveness? You mean I got to go and be their friend? I'm like, that's forgiveness is for you, not for them. You have to be forgiveness. You don't do forgiveness. So I walked away with, they heard me, but they didn't want to. They weren't trying to heal. They weren't trying to get nothing done last night.
Look, we're gonna talk about perspective today, right? And I think that's the key. Is once we get through these stories, but the key is, man, is when someone has a perspective that they're not gonna move from. You literally can give them math and be like, "Yo, 1 + 1 = 2," and they'd be like, "No, it's not. It's 7. It's 7." Well, no, let me look. I got one stick here and I got another one here. And when I put them, there's 2 of them afterwards. They're like, no, it's set.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like that.
So it's funny, man. I because speaking of disagreements and people having different points of view, this new Delta variant of the COVID-19 vaccine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody keeps saying like it's a hoax. I'm telling you, I'm hearing so many things, right? Of people like it's the government. They trying to, especially because our favorite song. We're gonna play our favorite song again today. But like the crazy part is, man, is that right now the ICUs are starting to fill up again.
Yeah,
right.
I heard Kaiser opened up tents and getting stuff again.
Yeah, and so the Delta variant makes up right now 83% of the sequence samples in the United States, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, right? This is a dramatic increase up from 50% for the week of July 3rd. So we're talking just like in a week or so, you know what I mean? And health experts said the Delta variant is more transmissible than any other identified variant so far. We should think about the Delta variant as the 2020 version of COVID-19 on steroids. That right there, that sentence right there, should make everybody just from, because here's the thing. Listen, I know y'all think I'm crazy. Okay. I know J Love is crazy and he say crazy things. And I know y'all think that the vaccine is the antichrist, the vaccine change, like, all of these high school scientists and
The backyard scientist.
yeah, I get it, but listen, y'all. I'm gonna try to give you a different argument. Okay. We just came out of, forget the people actually got sick. Forget the people actually died. We ain't even want to talk about that, right? That was all a conspiracy. Like, that wasn't really COVID. Okay.
No.
I agree with you. COVID is not real. Okay. But I think we all can agree that the lockdown sucked. I think we're all on the same page with that. Whether you're a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, right? Even me and Farron, we disagree on a lot of stuff, but I think him and I can agree on the fact that the lockdown sucked.
Yeah,
okay?
It did.
Here's the truth, people. Okay. You put far crazier things in your body on a daily basis.
You going there?
I'm going to make a point, though.
Okay.
If for no other reason, you can disagree with me 1,000%. But here's where we're headed. Farron, you tell me if I'm wrong. If we go in this pace right now, the pace that we're on, will we or will we not experience another lockdown?
My prediction is already like September.
You're killing me.
My prediction is September.
Okay.
I'm maybe October, but September's mine.
Okay. So just, okay. Wouldn't it make sense then? I promise you. I'm gonna ask you, Farron, because they don't listen to me. Have you had any crazy side effects other than the tail that you grew on the back of your neck? Any crazy things from
other than that tail? No, nothing.
Okay. I know you know other people who have been vaccinated.
Yes.
Has any of them had any issues with their DNA, with, you know what I'm saying, like hair growing out of their eyeballs? Anything?
No. Little arm pain afterwards for a day or so, soreness. That was it. That's all I've heard.
I'm being ridiculous. But folks, listen, I believe in freedom of expression. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of choice. I believe in basic human freedoms. I do. I don't think you should force anybody to do anything. Okay. But I think sometimes, can we force people to do common sense? We can't do that, right?
No, because see, I don't like that word common sense.
Because it's not common.
Because it's not common. Because everybody grew up in their environment, and that's your common sense is your environment. And so when you meet other people that's not from your environment, a lot of times we don't understand each other. And that's why I'm like, no, relate to me. Don't understand me. And just, you can't look outside and look and show me common sense outside your window. Yeah, you can't. You can't show me common sense in nature. So you want some freedom in your life? Compare your life up against nature, not up against how you use your words. That's your freedom. Tip of the day.
I'm just confused, man, because it's like, look, here's the thing. I know that all of these people who are anti-vaxxers, just based off of numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Know people who have either caught the virus or have died from the virus, just based off of sheer numbers, right? How do you say to somebody, yo, that thing that your daddy died from, that wasn't real?
Well, you're not going to say that out loud.
But how do you say it even in your mind? Like, because I've said this before, please, I'm begging you guys, if it's not COVID-19, just tell me what it is.
Exactly.
Is it Zika? Is it the chupacabra is, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta know.
So it's the worst case of flu right now.
It's the
The
worst
worst case.
case of
It's
flu.
the worst case of flu.
So if it is the worst case of flu, somebody said number high right now are amongst people. Not, yes, it
Yeah.
is mostly amongst excuse me, amongst. I said that right, right?
Yeah.
The unvaccinated, absolutely. And here's the crazier part: where before it was a lot of older people,
Right.
now it's a lot of younger. This variant is hitting a lot of younger people, and they're the ones most likely to wild out, to, you know what I mean, be touching and kissing and whatever folks that without thinking about it. They already man, do you understand? Concerts are happening again. Peoples are hooking up again. Clubs is happening again. Gatherings is happening again. And
Bro,
young people,
I looked at a clip of the basketball world because I'm a part of that world,
right?
and I saw they just tons of cats just out there watching and playing, and I'm like, does nobody care? No mask, no nothing. Just
You,
like
you want to hear something crazy? This
nobody cares.
weekend, I was on a staycation, like a little staycation, right? Just went down to, like, by Disney, whatever. So I'm about to go up in the elevator, and this dude is going to get out of the elevator, right? So right as he's getting out of the elevator, he sneezes, no mask on, right? So I just let it close, waiting for another one. Wait, I don't know what's in that mist. I don't know nothing about it. I was like, let me just let that one close. I'll wait for the next one. And dude, he didn't even do like this with he didn't cover his nose.
Yeah, nothing.
No, he's like, ah. And I was like, you just killed 30 people.
That's not funny though, but
that's the thing is that imagine if I wouldn't have seen it, because 90% of the time you're not gonna see it.
Yeah, especially when you've been around somebody like a relative and they sneeze and you can smell it.
Yes.
Yeah, like you don't want to be around that. Like
really?
That's a serious sneeze right there.
Really?
You could smell the mist.
Said it's hitting children, and they in the ICU 12 and under. There are 9 kids in Mississippi, 4 critical, 5 are in ICU. That's crazy.
So is the conspiracy that the first wave was to deal with the older folks, and now the second wave?
I think that's what it is. The first one,
because it's population control.
Yes, it's population control. That's one of the theories. That legit is one of the conspiracies.
They got the older folk. They got the older crowd on round one.
Now we're gonna get the younger ones.
But now we're going for the babies. Okay.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, man. So it's like I just look at it, man, and I'm like, yo, because like I said, 90% of the time you're not seeing that person sneeze before you, right? You're not seeing that person cough. You're not seeing that like even some people just be talking and you can see their breath.
Yeah. And they land on your face like
So it's like, look, I'm not trying, like, seriously, guys, I'm not a part of a conspiracy. I look for real, I'm just saying, I don't want it. Like, I don't want another shutdown. I don't want this to happen. So look, if I could take extra vaccinations for y'all, I would do it. I would do it just because here's what's going to happen this time around.
Would you take the booster shot? Is what you're saying?
I'll take the booster shot. Come on, man. Let's be real. Okay. If in my lifetime, allegedly, at some point in time in my life, I won't even say allegedly. Like, I'm gonna be honest. When I was a young person, I tried a number of things, right? I smoked things that people handed me that I had no idea what was in it. I didn't see them roll it. I didn't see them, you know what I mean?
Right.
I freely, when I was young, smoked anything that somebody handed me, right? Did that for an extended period of time before I quit, right? Couple of times I put some things up my nose. I know I was told what it was, but that's what I was told. Could have been anything, right? I've gone to the hospital on different occasions, and they've given me stuff that I couldn't tell you the name.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-COVID, right? A couple times it was amazing. Whatever it was amazing. Couldn't tell you what it was though, right? It could have been, you know what I mean? It could have been shark feces for all I know. I just know how it made me feel. Okay.
Yeah.
My point is that most of us have put stuff in our body that we have no clue what it is with no questions asked. Let's be honest. Most of the people who complain, right, especially these 20 to 30-year-olds who are out wilding out, go to clubs, go to parties, go to things, and they consume things that they have no clue what it is. I know they think they know, right? But they don't really know what it is. I mean, here's the truth. If I'm just telling y'all, if I'm the government, you want to know how I get y'all vaccinated? It's not that hard. Okay. It's not. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'm the government, right? And I know there's a few government officials that listen to this. Let me give y'all a tip.
Hello.
Let me show you how to do it. You want to know how to get everybody vaccinated? Put it in the weed. Put it in ecstasy. Put it. Oh, now y'all getting nervous. Now y'all getting nervous. Why y'all getting nervous now? You because you ain't got no problem smoking. You ain't got no problem taking ecstasy. You ain't got no problem. You know, all y'all here talking about Xannies, popping Xannies and every. You know what I'm saying? Not this. Hey, government people. I'm not even telling y'all to put it in the water because I know y'all could do that. Y'all run all the water filtration. Oh,
put it in the Jello pudding.
In the Jello pudding pops. Matter of fact, put it in the birria tacos that you dip it. Oh man, those are so good. I would smash some vaccine tacos, dog. There's so many ways if the government really wanted to bamboozle you. Look, take a cue from black people. Do you understand the amount of times they did things to us and we had no clue? It's easy to, if you want to do something ridiculous, they can do it to you. So if they really wanted, if it was really a conspiracy, a government conspiracy, because let me explain something to you.
She said that's what she's eating now. Hey, what are you eating?
Hey, I need them birria tacos for sure. Yo, save me some. Look, in the late 80s, right? In hoods all across the country. You want to know what happened? The government, first of all, the government was waging an illegal undercover war in Central America. You know what happened here in America? In hoods all across the country, trains would pull up mysteriously with the car doors open, right? The cargo doors open, and they would pull up in hoods all over America. And guess what? It was filled with guns and ammunition. Nobody knew how the trains got there, but you can talk to literally, you can talk to people from hoods all over America, and this happened, right? Prior to like 1984, I believe it was, crack cocaine did not exist. Okay, cocaine exists, baking powder exists. You know what I mean? Water in a pot existed. Okay. Somebody decided we're going to mix this simple little concoction up, right? And then we're going to hand deliver it to the hood. Okay. And we're going to, you know what? We're going to get them to deal, and not just deal. We're going to make them millionaires, right? But we're going to have them funnel money for our little illegal war. And once it's decimated their community, and then we'll lock them all up, right? And call them criminals, and just this whole community is this is people. Look at them, the crackheads and crack babies.
Generations, damaging generations.
They did that with no problem. They had no, and it came out like it is documented that the CIA is responsible for the crack cocaine trade in the United States of America. They created the Rick Rosses of the world, and not the Rick Ross, the rapper, but the Freeway Rick Ross. They created all of these major kingpins
the real one.
Yeah, that did, you know, decades in prison, that it decimated entire. It's documented. Like they don't even hide it from you. It's documented that they did that. And y'all think that your little YouTube and your Facebook posts and all your little, it's a conspiracy. You think you gonna stop them? Come on, man. It's just basic science. It's a virus. Okay, even if I'll even agree with you that it wasn't bats, it was created in a lab. I'll even agree with you on that. It got away. It wasn't supposed to get away, and it got away. I'll agree with you on that one. And now that it did, yes, they rushed faster than they ever have in history, but also modern medicine and modern science has excelled in the last 10 years, especially 10, 20 years.
For real.
Right? So they rush faster than we've ever known a vaccine to be rushed, because you know what? This could have decimated, because some of you who read history, remember that aside from the pandemic of 1919, once upon a time there was a thing called the Black Death, and the Black Death killed off 2/3 of the population of the earth. That's possible. That's even more possible today. The reason it didn't kill off the whole earth back then is because people were so separated by distance, right? So it had time to like die out once they figured like, oh, we got to clean and wash and burn the bodies and all of that, right? It didn't have time to literally kill the whole world, okay? With the amount of travel, transcontinental travel that we have nowadays.
For real.
Something like this could spread like it has almost overnight.
Like phase 1 did.
I'm not a scientist, but I know enough to know that it's a virus that I don't understand, that I'm not qualified to speak on, right? And to some degree, at some point, I have to trust the people who actually went to school for this stuff. I didn't go to school to learn anything about infectious diseases. Nobody I know did, right? Farron, did you go to school to study infectious diseases?
Nope.
Okay, you sure about that?
I'm positive.
Okay, cool. Anybody in your immediate circle?
Nope.
Eric, you at the station. Did you study infectious diseases? I don't know anyone personally that studied, but I know that people did go to school for this. And I may not like those people. I may disagree with their politics, right? I may think that some of the things that potentially they've done in their past that you're going to dig up was questionable. But when it comes to their expertise, so it's like this. This is the analogy I'm going to use. I've never been to the military, okay? Haven't spent one day in the military in my entire life. So how can I speak to Farron or my brother about the military when I ain't been there? I can't go to Farron or to my brother, right? I mean, I think you spent a couple of days there, right?
Yeah, only 24 years.
Okay, only 24 years. You know what I mean? My brother is also retired out of the Marine Corps, right? And so I can't go to you guys and say, hey, let me tell you what the military is like, okay? Because I read some on Facebook and I watch a lot. I watch a lot of movies about the Army, okay? And I know in the Army that, if you don't do what your sergeant say, he could punch you in the face. The problem nowadays, they're not punching enough people in the face in the Army. I know because I seen it in the movie. The sergeant punched him and then kicked him because that's what happens in the Army. I know this. There was a guy on Facebook who said he got punched in the face by a sergeant. It's a real story. How insane does that sound? Run over here dying.
No, I'm laughing because as many vaccinations that I got in the military, bro, thank you. Come on, they already got my DNA. I'm still owned by the government because I get a retirement check for the rest of my life. So I still got ties to the government even after I'm retired. I'm not even really retired. Come on, y'all.
It's just fun. It's like, okay.
You have to find your peace. Find your peace of mind somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's
I just know, look, I know y'all say that the news lie, like everybody lies. The news lies, but okay.
So can I tell you about the news? I went to school for TV and radio broadcasting.
Okay.
They write the news headlines on purpose.
Yes.
To draw your attention.
Absolutely.
They word it purposely to grab your attention. Purposely. It is written for you to formulate your own opinion. Purposely. So when you read those news articles or you hear them, everybody on the planet got their point of view about what was said in the news and how they write. That's why CNN is one version of the news and Fox, because how you write the news, I had to learn I had to do that. And I didn't like it because I'm like, why would you write a story like that? Why would you end it out of all the ways that you could tell this story? I got to write it this way. Yes. Why? Because he said so.
Because nobody wants to hear the story of baby takes his first steps today, right? What you want to hear is baby almost got ate by an alligator. Story at 11. It's like, what?
Yeah. The headline.
You didn't know it was his daddy with a little alligator puppet on, and just you know what I'm saying, like. But look, man, I'm gonna change the subject because I know people get whatever, you know. But
No,
before
can you play the song? Can you?
That's what I'm saying. Before I change the subject, I just got to give it to y'all one more again. It's the Revolution Radio Show,
and don't back that thing up either. We got a new one.
Don't back it up.
Don't back
Vax it up.
You finna online date chat, find a mate chat, open up BOK ass, okay yeah, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you gotta wait chat, gotta go back to Nate chat, get it straight chat, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up, feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up. Feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up.
I know you can't stand it, no holding hands, chick. But when we get the shot, we gon' be romancing. Girl, you could be the queen at the quarantine. We could meet up at the spot and we could do the thing. Internet date chat, I'm your mate chat. Download the app, shorty, you ain't gotta wait chat. I love it when you hold me, eggplant emoji. You could be the young hot thing, I'll be the OG.
Girl, you look good, want you vax that thing up. You's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up. Dating real life, you need to vax that thing up. Feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up. Girl, you look good, want you vax that thing up. You's a decent looking brother, want you vax that thing up. Acting foolishly, you need to vax that thing up. Herd immunity when you vax that thing up.
If you wanna get sticky and hot, go get the shot. If you wanna smash some dude named Scott, go get the shot. Now go get the shot, go get the shot. BLK says go get the shot. You wanna smash with Scott, smash with Scott. BLK says go get the shot.
That was my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Every time. Every time.
It got barred, yo.
She said, if you want to smash with Scott, go get the shot.
I can't believe they did that.
That's the greatest song ever written, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't believe
look, if that thing does not win a Grammy, American Music Award, Soul Train Award, BET Award, Lady of Soul Award, Oscar, Tony, you know what I'm saying? This thing better win everything.
You don't have one of your songs that you can remix to Vax?
Man, you might have to do that, man. I might have to make me a Vax song, man, because that's the greatest ever, man. But listen, I'm gonna switch the subject because I know y'all be tripping or whatever, man. But did you know that yesterday, or not even yesterday, I think it was this morning, Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, went to space and back Tuesday morning on an 11-minute supersonic joyride aboard the rocket and capsule system developed by his space company, Blue Origin, right? So, anyways, riding alongside the multi-billionaire were Bezos' brother, Mark Bezos, Wally Funk, an 82-year-old pilot, and one of the Mercury 13 women who trained to go to space in the 20th century but never got to. Here's what's funny about the story, okay? So listen to who went on this. Jeff Bezos,
his brother,
Wally Funk, by the way. That's a dope name, by the way. I think Wally Funk. That might be my new nickname, aka Wally Funk.
Where's Wally?
And just for good measure, I know you actually trained to go to space. Like this is what you actually did. So we're gonna bring you along too. Since you never got to go to space with the actual space program, you had to end up going with an eccentric billionaire who runs and owns Amazon. No. I know you wanted to go with NASA. Yeah. That's nice. That's cute. You never got to go to space with them with the actual space program.
No.
No.
You go with us. You go with us.
That's what's hilarious to me. You know what I mean? And hold on. And an 18-year-old who recent graduate from high school named Oliver Damon, who was Blue Origin's first paying customer and whose father, an investor, purchased his ticket. So not just an 18-year-old who, you know what, this is a smart kid. He's going to go to MIT. He's the future of our country. No, not him. The 18-year-old whose dad was an investor. Let's take that entitled kid up into space. And so I guess my question is, because we know that Richard Branson went into space last week. right? He beat, and we still haven't heard from Elon Musk, because I thought Elon Musk would be next, but Jeff
He go to
Bezos
space on
snuck.
Tuesdays too.
He snuck in there. Jeff Bezos was like, you know
I
what
got
mean?
this Tuesday. I got this Tuesday.
So here's my thing. All three of these dudes is billionaires, right? Collectively, if they want, and I'm not telling people how to spend their money, okay? That's not my job. But collectively, they have enough money that if they put their money together, right, they could end world hunger and still have a lot of money. I'm sorry, do I ask foolish questions? Am I ridiculous?
No.
I mean, I shouldn't tell people. I shouldn't be in nobody's pocket, right? Like, am I wrong for having these thoughts?
I mean, I think that's a common thought. How can I say this? Some people think that, celebrities should step up and use their money to change
But no,
the world.
that's my point, is that everybody gets on celebrities, right? Like, yo, especially like P. Diddy, Jay-Z, y'all need to, and I'm like, but nobody ever hollers at, like, you know what I'm saying? All these billionaires, like Jay-Z's a billionaire, but like he like barely a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't like billionaire. You feel me? Like no one gets on these dudes like, yo, if like the 10 richest dudes in the world got together, there wouldn't be like any type of real issues left monetary wise, and they would still be billionaires. That's how much money they got. Just the 10 richest dudes in the world. Like it's not like they would stop being billionaires. They would just be less of billionaires. Like instead of being worth 100 billion, they would only be worth like 20 billion. Like that would be terrible. That would be bad. That would be awful, right? And we ain't even talked about like the real money that ain't on no list, like these trillionaire dudes, like the oil guys in the Middle East and the guys who run the World Bank, who like really got dough. Like, because here's the thing, I've never had $1 trillion. Okay, I'll go even lower. Okay. I've never had $100 billion. Should I go lower? A little bit. Okay. I've never had $1 billion. Yeah. But at some point, like there's only like in your lifetime, right? There's only so many things you can buy and actually even look at. I'm not even saying use, right? Let's say you bought a car every day of the year, right? Because at a certain level, you can afford that. So that's only 365 cars. Could you actually look at, like, even in a parking lot, you can't actually see 365 cars, right? Because it's in rows. Like you could only see so many cars at a time. So you couldn't even look at your entire car collection of unless maybe if you went up in a helicopter. Your fleet. Yeah, you would have to get in your helicopter that goes to look down on your fleet and go, oh, there's all 365 cars. I'm gonna drive that one today. Pull that one out. Yeah, 5th row, 6 from the end. Yeah, pull that one out. Yeah, like even like I see these dudes who are sneakerheads, right? And they be like, yo, I got 1,000 pair of sneakers. Where you put them at? Well, there's like so many other, like, feel me, like you can't wear ever, because by the time you get to like say a pair 500, a year and a half has passed and there's new shoes out. So like even if you stopped at 1,000 pair of sneakers and like we're like, I'm only gonna buy 1 new pair of shoes a month. Okay, every 6 months. How about that? You still would never catch up. Because like, am I making sense, man? Like, or am I crazy? This is the revolution. I'm just trying to get people to think, man.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you this for real. This is my first mind. When I saw that he was actually about to go up into space, man, it took everything that I had to not have a negative thought. That like, what if this dude dies? Like, the world's gonna be upset. Like, bro, why are you risking your life to go for an 11-minute ride to space, bro? Like, you got all the money on the planet.
Because you can.
Bro. can you? I don't live like this anymore. But I had to control my thought process, bro, because I was like, man, if this dude dies, the world's gonna be upside down, and I don't
Well,
think it's worth the risk.
well, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because here's the thing. The reason I brought these things up is because what I wanted to talk today about is perspective, right?
Mm,
Because the truth is, and it's funny, man, I've been having this conversation over and over again with people recently,
okay.
getting them to understand that your perspective really does dictate your reality, right? And so many people, man, are stressed out, are have anxiety, just carry all of these things because of the perspective that they carry in life, whether it be, and again, I'll share for myself.
Can
Like,
I give them a
go ahead.
definition?
Yes, absolutely.
So perspective, a particular attitude towards or way of regarding something, like a point of view.
Exactly. The way you regard what you see in your life, right? Like, so some of us have the perspective that it's important what like our family or our peers think about us, like our success or lack thereof, the type of home we live in, the type of car we drive. That perspective drives us to do certain things, right?
Mhm.
Oftentimes, you've heard the term keeping up with the Joneses, right? It causes people to live far beyond their means, to make decisions that aren't necessarily the most healthy decisions for them because their perspective is that other people need to deem them more, in their mind, more important than what they are, right? Other times, your perspective causes you to believe for yourself that you are less than what you really, right? Because you're looking at it from a certain perspective. So you're going like, oh, I don't have nothing to offer the world. I'm not important. I'm not
Yeah.
successful. I'm not
Mhm.
smart.
I'm too
I'm
young.
Yeah, I'm too young. I'm too old. All of those things, that perspective dictates your reality, right? And so in order for us to have to live a healthy life, right? um you guys know I quote scripture all the time, and even if you don't share my faith, I believe that it's relevant for our lives, right?
Mhm.
There's a scripture that says that God came to give us life and life more abundantly, meaning the best quality of life possible. So even if you don't believe what I believe, I think it's safe to say that you'd like to have the best quality of life possible, right? I think that's safe to say that
Mm.
it's even in this thing that we call America, right? They say liberty and in the pursuit of happiness, right? And there's even like a saying, "Live your best life." That's a part of the popular. I'm gonna use a big word, the popular lexicon, right? The vernacular of popular culture, right? Living your best life. And so the thing is that we have to get to a place where we have a healthy perspective based on facts, not on opinion, right?
Or emotions.
You're right. You're right. And so I think, for example, even in the military, you might have dealt with this, Farron, right? Where a lot of the perspective is based on, and again, I say this carefully because you got to answer this, but like based on the perspective of what your commanding officers think, right? What their opinion is of particular people or troops, or you know what I mean, or ideas. And it can cause someone to have a very unhealthy cycle of behavior because they're doing something, because what it breeds ultimately is fear, and fear is irrational. Fear is not built on reality, right? So when you're moving constantly out of fear and insecurity, it's all made up in your head, right? It's based on this might happen tomorrow. Like, it's all made up stuff. Like, if I don't do this, this will happen, and if I don't do this, will fall apart, and so it's constantly moving on stuff that's made up. That's not a real tangible thing, right? Go ahead.
No, so I want to add to what you're saying for people who are listening. You have to also go back and see when your perspective was developed, and most
Mm,
of our perspectives were developed as children. As
yeah,
children, so some of your views are from a 5-year-old perspective. Some of your views are from an 8-year-old perspective. Some of your views are from a 16-year-old perspective,
yeah.
23-year-old perspective. So when you look in your heart, and your subconscious mind goes to look at how you're going to start viewing these conversations, just notice where you go look from, and you will see, you will notice what you're visiting in your mind, what experience that is based off of. And pretty much, if you look at the empirical truths of your life, we have perspectives growing up as children that are actually at the core of our development. So again, we talk about how we, as a child, we have no idea what it is to be an adult, but your brain is developing as a child. So it's giving meaning to life in those situations. And it may not be the truth. It may be your truth. It may be your perspective. But as an adult, at some point, you're going to go back and you got to look at those old perspectives. Like, do I really believe that now? Is that a view that I want to bring on? Like,
well, and we go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, well, and we've established before that so many of the things that we were taught was dysfunctional or just flat out a lie, right? So I'll use a silly thing, right? But like, for example, we were taught in school, especially people years in my age, right? Christopher Columbus discovered America. we know that to be a blatant lie, right? But when you're taught this, your perspective on who the hero is sculpted a certain way, right? There's people, when we talk about race all the time, that we're literally taught the perspective that Black people are less than, or Hispanic people are less than, or Asian people, are this, and women are that, right? They were literally taught this as a truth, and that's the perspective, the window with which they navigate the world, right? And so I say this all the time. I was taught the perspective that women were not as important as men. That I was taught that. So for many years in my life, I navigated the world with that perspective. I had to grow and learn and understand, like, oh my God, this thing that I was taught was a lie. So I have to completely shift my perspective on that, so that, I couldn't even respect a woman until I understood her value. Right. Because, my stepfather taught me, he said and I was I'll never forget, I was like 10 years old. And he told me, every woman is a hooker, because even if you marry her, you still got to pay for it. So imagine that being the lens in which because what that says is your mother too. Right.
Yes.
So if the purest woman in your life, right, for most children, the purest woman in your life is your mother, right?
Yep.
If she's no good, how you gonna look at any of these other heifers like they worth anything?
Yep.
You can't. And then even with women, like I had a conversation with a woman who was like, even in institutions of faith and religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
For many years, because a lot of it was based on, again, colonialism, Western civilization, right? And a lot of patriarchy. So over the pulpit, men would say things like, well, if you women didn't dress a certain way, men wouldn't be tempted. And, men wouldn't lust if you women didn't dress provocative, putting it on the women, right? So then women started to believe, well, it's because of me, right? So if this man treats me a certain way, it must be my fault, right? It must be my fault. And so that's why I say all the time, perspective. And that's what I wanted to, why I brought this up today is because I just keep talking to people that I'm hearing their perspective, and I'm like, yo.
I got one for you. So
yeah.
I'm looking at some notes, because that's actually one of my my first inspirational read that I wrote from my dad. My experience from my dad was My Perception of My Father, The Life of a 5-Year-Old. That's at farrond.com. So perspective.
I like that little plug right there.
You like that? Yeah, you like that? farrond.com. So your perspective, this is what I have as a statement here. Your perspective is the way you see something. If you think that toys corrupt children's mind, then from your perspective, a toy shop is an evil place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Well, okay. And everything we talk about, right? Perspective. If you believe that inherently, I'll go down the list of stuff we've talked about on this show, because this is the Revolution Radio Show, ladies and gentlemen. If you believe inherently that police systems in general are corrupt and wicked, then a police station is a terrible place. Mm-hmm. Policemen and women are evil people. If you believe that The government is inherently corrupt, right? And then everyone in government is evil and wicked. If you believe that institutions of faith and religion are corrupt, then everybody in there is, you know what I mean? So I could go down the list.
I'm gonna give you a lighter one, because some people who listen have children, and some people think that the school's perspective is corrupted. And when your child needs you to come to school, you won't even go, because you're like, nah, that place is not. I can't go there. Based off of your perspective, you won't even go to parent teacher night. I mean, it's that ridiculous, but that plain. Like, your perspective is so important. And at some point as an adult, for me, when my perspective started to change at 39, and by 40 going on 41, I had took some classes, and my perspective shifted completely. So you not that you have to do anything, but you have to challenge your points of view up against something else that you believe in.
Yes, and because I say this all the time. Look, people, here's the truth. Okay, so let's talk about religion. Historically speaking, has religion done a lot of damage? Has churches, places of faith, religion damaged people, hurt people? Yes. Okay. Unequivocally, right? But here's the facts, right? That's the reality. The facts is the vast majority of people, whether they're misled or not, whether they're wrong or not in their belief, the vast majority of people in houses of faith are sincere people who want to be better, right? Let me take it further. Something that I gripe about all the time. It has there historically been corruption and flat out evil within police systems in this country? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's undeniable. Okay. But the truth is that the vast majority of men and women who join law enforcement do it because they want to make a difference. Right. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. The reality may be one thing, but the truth is that the vast majority, because you could find, there used to be a saying, or, saying, if you look for the devil, that's exactly where you'll find him. Like, if you go looking for it, like, you'll find it everywhere, right? Like, let's be real. Is everyone at Fox a racist? I don't believe that.
No.
Is everyone at CNN a crazy liberal? No. Is, you know what I mean? Like, when we blanket and say everyone, that's where we get in trouble. And it has to do, again, it goes back to our perspective. And what I want to challenge all of us, and this, because it's a challenge I've been working on myself, right, is to have a healthy perspective, right? Because, and I'll say, my bad. See, here's my perspective. So we got 7 minutes. Okay. So for example, you challenged my perspective because, I'm very outspoken and loud about police injustice and all of that stuff. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of like, well, no, Jay, you know what I mean? But that was my perspective. Mm-hmm. I had to alter my perspective because, if I'm being honest, right, even though in my lifetime, many of my interactions have been negative with police, here's the truth. If I'm okay, again, truth, facts. I probably see, right, like come across on a daily basis, at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 police officers, right, every day, right? Like, if you drive around enough, you'll pass at least, you know what I mean? So if we're just going to go just based on numbers, right? They're not, all those 2 or 3 police officers ain't pulling me over and dragging me out of the car and beating me up. You get what I'm saying? Like, I had to switch my perspective, right? Because my perspective literally was, every time a cop car comes near me, I tense up and get nervous and get like, I ain't did nothing wrong, but I'm sitting there sweating like I got the money from the bank robbery in the passenger seat.
Right.
Oh God, there's crack in the, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's a dead hooker in the trunk. Oh,
right.
Like, I tense up like that, and it's irrational. Exactly what I'm talking about. It's based on an irrational fear that isn't real. I'm seeing myself on a t-shirt, rest in peace, J Love. You know what I mean? People doing vigils. Like, it's irrational. Yeah. I had to change my perspective, because why am I feeling uncomfortable around somebody who ain't did nothing to me?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so, people, I just want to say this. We all got difference of opinions, right? We're never going to agree on 100% of stuff, right? It's just not logical. But if we could change our perspective to at least be open to what other people are saying, even if we don't agree with them, just to be perspective enough to be open, right? And I know you can't do it with everybody because there are some absolutely lunatic people. I get it. Some people that just, it is what it is.
What I'm learning from my mentor is how to listen. And if you develop yourself in your listening skills, you can listen to anyone talk about anything, because as you mentioned, you don't put yourself in that conversation. If you can listen to a conversation and not put yourself in that, and ask more questions before you react to it. With what you're talking about, in that perspective and perception, there's also emotions. There's also a lot of things that's layered inside of how you, again, about how you came up with that perspective. There is pretty much some kind of experience from your past or something that you survived, and your mind is like, okay, we learned that, and this is how we view that, and we have to make sure that does not ever happen again. And if something looks like it's about to happen like that again, we're gonna do what we did the last time, because that's how we survived that. But then you wonder why your life repeats itself, and you keep figuring out you keep wondering, why does this keep happening to me? Because you keep making the same moves from your points of view to react to life, which is not even, it looked like, even though it might look like it's about to happen again, it may not be that again.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you this quick thing and then we're done. Look, I had a disagreement with someone this weekend, right? I'm admittedly, I'm a hothead. I'm ready to pull the guns out and everybody's dying. The cats is dying. The baby birds is dying. I'm that guy, right? I'm ready to do this, right? And so that's my normal MO. But I've been trying to, you know what I mean? Like, listen for the sake of listening, not to answer, right? That's something that I was, told. Don't listen for the sake of coming up with an answer. Right. Listen to listen, right? And so I'm hearing this person tell me something, and that James is going, oh, get the guns out, right? So then finally I was like, wait a minute. Okay, this can either end ugly or it could end peaceful, right?
Right.
And here's the truth. This person is not going to move from their perspective. That's the perspective they genuinely have. You're not going to move from your perspective, right? So you could either do it where you're just throwing bullets at each other,
right? Or
you can say, hey, we're at an impasse, but look, I got love for you anyway. We'll just figure out a different way to do this to where it's amicable for the both of us, right? And what that took was for me to be able to step outside of myself and get out of my feelings, right? Because it was my feelings, it was my emotions, my ego, my everything, whatever, right? Get out of that and just, okay, this person has, and even though I may not be able to see what it is they're feeling, like I can't agree with what they're feeling, I got to acknowledge that's what they're feeling. Right. So, and I say all that to say this, folks, we can grow. And if we grow, I'm telling you, Republicans and Democrats, black and white, vaccinated and non-vaccinated, we can have a better tomorrow than we have today. That's all I'm trying to say. Y'all know I'm crazy and I like to fight and whatever else.
I want to drop this before we go, since we brought up some conversations earlier. Romans 12:2. Read that. Renewing your heart, renewing your perspective. You have no idea where your freedom and peace of mind is on the other side of that.
Exactly.
You look at your perspective and realize that it's not the truth. It's the truth, your truth, but it's not the truth. When you renew that perspective and challenging up with something, I promise you, you will have a whole nother view of life that opens up, and that's where your freedom and peace of mind lives at. So
well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's Farron. I'm Jay Love. This is the Revolution Radio Show. Until tomorrow, remember, reach for your best, reach for success, but most of all, reach for God, because God is love and love is everything. We'll see y'all mañana.
Peace.
Oh my.